The prodigal sons have returned. For the first time in 39 days, the Indy 11 are back at Lucas Oil Stadium. And with rain outside, it's nice and cozy and comfy inside under the roof at Lucas Oil. A long-time foe awaits here in the Circle City as North Carolina FC provides the challenge for the Indy 11 this evening. Alongside Brad Hodder, Greg Rakestraw with you. Thank you for joining us on My Indy TV and on ESPN+. It has been a while since we have seen this team, Brad. In fact, it's been a little while since they have played. A 10-day gap since their last match, a 2-2 draw at Louisville.
It's going to be interesting tonight, too, because sometimes when you come home, there's the comfort of being home, but it's a completely new surface, so they're going to have to take a little bit of time to adjust to that.
Some details on the road trip for the Indy 11. They were not overly busy in the last month and 10 days or so, playing just 4 times. Road losses at the Charleston Battery and Tampa Bay Rowdies, but impressive results over the course of the last 2 games, in large part because of the scoring prowess of Jack McInerney.
Hey, they played very, very well, too, during this stretch, but you certainly want those better results coming at the end.
McInerney had 3 goals on the season until a couple of weeks ago. The game winner against the Bethlehem Steel, and then a brace on his birthday against Louisville 10 days ago.
Yeah, I think he's gelling very, very well right now with this league. But what's also interesting is that the guys are now starting to understand his runs.
One of the leading goal scorers in the league plays for North Carolina FC, but we may see him only as a substitute tonight in Daniel Rios. So we'll focus on the guy that drives the offense for North Carolina FC. Kyle Becker tied for the league lead in assists with 10.
Hey, incredible player. We had the great fortune of watching him with San Francisco last year. Really the heart and soul and the engine of this team.
North Carolina FC, the Indy 11. The Indy 11 played North Carolina in their first ever franchise match back in April of 2014. Should be a good one tonight in downtown Indianapolis. As always, we thank you for joining us for Indy 11 Soccer here on My Indy TV and ESPN+. Indy 11 Soccer is brought to you by Community Health. Exceptional care simply delivered. Community Health Network. By Honda, proud to be the official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. By Turkish Airlines, widen your world. And by The Room Place, get it all at The Room Place. Just moments away from this match getting underway. With that, let's bring you our starting lineups. They are presented by Honda Manufacturers of Indiana, the official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. First, the home team in the Indy 11. You'll see Ben Spies playing a midfield role of note now that we are seeing a healthy Reiner Ferreira. That's a new development since this team has been away. You can see a rotation at center back. Carl Lamette not in the starting lineup, but available off the bench for head coach Martin Rennie.
It's nice to have that option. You've got 3 guys that are all quality that you can interchange.
Also of note, Ioze has been off for about a month. He's only missed 3 matches. He's been dealing with an injury as well. He'll get his 17th start of the season. And Owain Von Williams has played in every minute of every match so far this year for Indy. 4-5-1 for North Carolina FC. Again, Daniel Rios is available as a sub tonight. So a youngster that's been with this club for a while, Dre Fortune, gets the nod up top. But Becker and Deleuze can create a lot from the midfield.
And Fortune, incredibly talented. You got Becker in behind. But think about that. You got Rios and Cipollani coming off the bench. Are you kidding me?
And much as we talk about with Owain Von Williams, he has been in net for every minute of every match so far this year for Indy. He's got 8 clean sheets for the Indy 11 as well. His opposite number, you can largely say the same thing. Alex Tambakis. He is originally from Greece, but he has spent the last 3 years now in the USL. In fact, he was the first signee of the Atlanta United when they went to Major League Soccer. He has played every league minute of every league match so far. He had a clean sheet in a 2-0 victory against Tampa Bay this weekend. That was his 6th shutout of the season.
That speaks well to him, his quality as a person and as a player, because when you're building a club like Atlanta was doing, you got to start with somebody in the back that has a presence and that you trust. And for him to be the first signee is a testament to who he is.
The captain's armband being worn by Matt Watson this evening. Veteran midfielder who formerly played for this franchise and for Martin Rennie back when they were the Carolina Railhawks. They made that name change before the beginning of last season. For the last 4 years, these 2 teams were rivals in the North American Soccer League. In fact, this is the 15th all-time meeting between the Indy 11 and North Carolina FC.
And what's crazy, we've been witness to this for the past 4 or 5 years. It seems like so many epic moments in the history of Indy 11 have been tied to North Carolina.
7 wins over the years against their rivals from the Raleigh-Durham area. After being away since July the 7th, we thank you for joining us for Indy 11 Soccer here on My Indy TV and ESPN Plus. And Reiner Ferreira, he was injured in the opening home match of the season against FC Cincinnati back on March the 31st. He returned while this team was on that long road trip. What does he bring to the table for this team?
Veteran experience. You look at, I mean, not just the championship that he won with San Francisco, but he's a glue guy on that back line, and that's so critical to have.
One of the things that you will notice, and my partner touched on this during our pregame intro, this is a brand new turf that we are playing on at Lucas Oil Stadium, and that is part of the reason why there was a lengthy road trip away for the Indy 11, having not played here since early July. But with the upcoming football season, the Indianapolis Colts begin their first of 10 home games here next Monday. Ball played forward. We'll finish that story in a moment as Watson plays it across. Guillen, who was on the team of the week in the USL last week, heads it back to midfield. Indy 11 player offside, couldn't track it down. Tambakis will grab it. But again, to finish the thought, because there's football coming up here in the very near future, there's high school football here on Friday night. We are playing on the full football lines for the first time this season, and the yellow sidelines and end lines kind of blend in a little bit, as you can notice. So my guess would be was when the Indy 11 are back here next Wednesday, there might be a new color added to the field when we try this again 7 days from now.
I would think, no matter how much you talk about a pregame with players, and this is a common thing when, you know, like in high school and college and stuff, when clubs are sharing fields, you remind your players, and yet still in the heat of the moment, you're going to mix up those yellow lines.
North Carolina FC, they play in one of what is seemingly one of the rare soccer-only facilities down in Cary. And they play on a much more wide surface than this one. We are playing 110 yards by 70 yards here inside Lucas Oil Stadium. Time now for the keys of this match. They are presented by your Central Indiana Honda Dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11.
I think for the 11, I think dictating the tempo tonight. You got North Carolina, who's a hot team. They haven't lost in 6 matches. In those things, I like to come out swinging and let's set the press. Let's dictate the tempo of the game. Don't let them settle in. I think the other thing is no free looks. You look at a guy like Kyle Becker, 10 assists. He is deadly through the run of play, but give him a restart in the defensive third, and you're putting yourself in trouble. For North Carolina, no counter balls. You know, they're playing a lot on the road recently. This is their 2nd match in 4 or 5 days, so they don't want to get into a back and forth game. So don't give up balls in the attacking third or in the middle of the field that allows Indy to get out on the break. And you got to track Jack. Jack McInerney is on fire right now. He's scoring off his head. He's scoring rebounds. He's scoring on breakaways. He's scoring every way possible. Indy 11 is finally finding ways to get him the ball. You got to make sure you know where he is in the 18.
Jose had a good run going. Advantage was being played. Now they'll switch up sides of the attack, trying to find Venegas, but the pass just a bit errant and in front of him for the longtime veteran of Minnesota United. And a lot of these guys are quite familiar with one another. The North Carolina team has had some turnover from last year, but they've got players in the starting lineup like Austin Deleuze, who has been a part of that franchise for 7 years. Connor Tobin at center back, been with the team for 5 years in North Carolina. And off the bench, T. Shipolani is in his 8th season with North Carolina FC.
Well, we've had the fortune of watching North Carolina, you know, back when they're the Railhawks to their, you know, their change here in the USL. And what's interesting is they've done a really good job through those first years in the NASL of keeping their talent. They've had very good consistency. And when you look at how they've come out of the gate over the last 4 years, they've been on fire. This year's been a little bit different, I think, with the change in the league and some new faces blended in, like, you know, Becker and Rios, 2 impact guys, but they're new to North Carolina. It's taken a little bit of time to get their feet underneath them, and now they're undefeated in the last 6.
Michael Harrington, longtime MLS vet, with a professional grade shoulder into the chops of Ben Spees. Spees goes to the turf, and a reset coming here for the Indy 11. Let's quickly take a look at our injury report brought to us by Community Health Network Sports Medicine, official sports medicine provider of the Indy 11. Tyler Pasher has missed a large chunk of this season, came back in late June or July, but again is now on the sidelines. We saw Justin Braun get injured in the last match here on July 7th. He has not played since that time. And Jordan Farr, the backup goalkeeper, out with a shoulder injury, looking for the back post, getting a boot to it. Onside was McInerney, but couldn't get a controlling touch. Well done, though, on the set piece, as has been the case all season long from the Indy 11.
Yeah, very dangerous. And you look, you can go back to the World Cup. I think 46% of the goals were scored off of restarts. So it's one of those, you know, unsung parts of the game where we spend less time in training. You know, sometimes we spend 5–10% in training on restarts, and yet it dictates, you know, 45–46% of the scoring.
Spoken like a guy who's a college soccer coach who starts practice tomorrow. Like that's on your brain or something.
We are re-evaluating everything. You take not just the statistics from the World Cup, but you look at international play, you look at club play. You know, the game has got different defining moments, and you have to make sure your players are ready for those.
For those that might be fans of North Carolina FC or simply from outside of the state of Indiana, my partner is the men's soccer coach at DePaul University, and literally camp starts tomorrow for his team at the Division III level. Opportunity here. Spees will leave for McInerney. Tries to play it across that. Sterakov slides it in. It's an Indy 11 goal in minute number 7. McInerney's been scoring them. How about that assist? Sterakov cashes in. It's an early home goal for the Indy 11.
Hey, 2 great pieces. That one is the serve. The serve is where first to ball is going to be able to make better contact with it. And then you look at Sterakov outworking his defender to be the first guy to get a touch on that ball. What a great goal.
And for Eugene Sterakov, it is his first goal in this facility. He scored twice on that lengthy road trip, scored at Charleston and at Tampa Bay in a pair of losses. And for Jack McInerney, his first assist of the season.
What a clever ball, too. He picked his head up. He took a look. Do I take on this defender, or do I throw that ball into the box for an early serve?
Well, when these two teams played earlier this season, it was a goal in the 15th minute. Tyler Pasher from Justin Braun even earlier this time around for the Indy 11 as they get a goal in the 7th minute. First time we've seen North Carolina FC have the ball this far down the field. This is Guillen. Now we'll leave the ball to Canziora. Good looking run here for Becker, but could not have that controlling touch. And the goalkeeper for the Indy 11 in Owain Fawn Williams, who was on the USL's Team of the Week a couple of weeks ago after his shutout performance in the victory at the Bethlehem Steel. First time we really referenced his name this evening. Young man from Wales, when he's not trying to hold the other team out of the back of the net, he is quite the painter.
I love that. I haven't seen his work. Well, I've seen some of his work, but I haven't seen it in person. And I think that is such a cool skill to have.
It is something that I believe neither you or I are blessed with.
No, I'm not. I can't. Sometimes I can't even appreciate art.
Finger painting's a little advanced for my artistic ability.
It's a struggle.
Fawn Williams on loan from his side in Scotland. Inverness Caledonian Thistle. There are a couple of players that have also been added on loan as of the last week for the Indy 11. One of them is available in the 18 this evening. We'll tell you more about him in a matter of moments. North Carolina FC had to chase the game against the Indy 11 when these two teams played earlier this year. This one headed down, but nowhere near on frame. In fact, the possession was tilted 70-30 in favor of North Carolina FC when these teams met on a windy and rainy night in early April in North Carolina.
Yeah, and that's such a tough statistic because, you know, psychologically you feel we've got 70% of the game. It should fall our way. But you talk about the rain, you talk about the field conditions, you talk about, you know, the tactics. Is somebody sitting in and letting you have the ball and just trying to catch you on the counter? There's so many things that factor into that you know, you can get caught up in possession and actually lose sight of the actual result.
Stephen Miller was the player for North Carolina FC that was closest to the back post on that one. He too another player that comes over from their North American Soccer League days. And Speeds, well timed run by Jack McInerney. Speeds looks for the back post instead. McInerney will play this ball into a corner kick for the Indy 11.
Incredible moment. This corner kick and this opportunity in the attacking third comes off of a very vanilla ball from Iose. The ball comes into him as a man is pressing him from the front, and he just casually one-touches the ball out of the air right to Matern.
So it is Iose, and again, they have not had his skill on the corner for the last few matches. Swings it in. Mitchell was the intended target. Both he and Ouimet have been the benefactors of Iose's work on corners over the course of the last few weeks. This Sports the Match presented by Community Health Sports Medicine, keeping athletes at the top of their game. Visit ecommunity.com/sports. Dream big, work hard, and finish strong. This Indy 11 team, they have had 5 road victories this season, which is the most in the 5-year history of the franchise. They frankly have had better results away from home than they have here at Lucas Oil, but they have looked excellent so far this evening in the very early returns. This is the first of 3 consecutive Wednesday night home matches for the Indy 11. And that is done in part this time of year knowing that the Indianapolis Colts will likely have a game or 2 on a Saturday. That is the case next Saturday on August the 25th. In fact, including tonight's game, the Indy 11 are at home 7 more times this season. 5 of those are on Wednesday nights. The next Saturday home match for this team will be over Labor Day weekend on September the 1st. Opportunity here for NCFC and Iose. We have raved about his offensive skills, but he is a left back, and outstanding sliding tackle there.
Yeah, that was a great read. Miller is popping out wide there to give an angle to play the ball into him, and Iose just reads it and steps in front.
Iose knows something is true about these North Carolina FC players as well, having spent the previous 5 years with the New York Cosmos. We've got some former teammates in tonight's game squaring off as well. Brad has referenced what Kyle Becker meant to the San Francisco Deltas last year. Reiner Ferreira was his teammate, as was Carl Ouimet on the Deltas last year. And not to mention a connection on the Indy 11 bench with Phil DeSantos, the top assistant. Just celebrated his 40th birthday, did Phil. But he was part of that San Francisco one-year championship effort out in the Bay last year. Juan Guerra. A little track back and pick that one up.
Oh, what a touch.
Ball does stay in play. Guerra has it taken away. And Ferreira closes it down.
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes when you get out of a jam like that with a great move, pressure's coming, you just need to keep that ball moving. Deleuze was in there, picked it off well, and was able to play it into the corner.
When these two teams played last time, as mentioned earlier, it was a 1-0 game. I don't think this one's going to be 1-0 again tonight. Indy 11 having played several 1-0 games this season, and most of them have gone their way. Wins at Richmond, at Bethlehem, at North Carolina. They've kind of played that typical 1-0 type of game on the road. They have not played in that fashion in home matches. Already a 3-3 draw here against Charleston back in May.
Crazy, and not just like a 3-3 match that develops 3-3 with like a goal every 15 minutes or so. That was just a crazy frenzy.
Only back and forth. That was both teams scoring in stoppage time. That's at midseason. I believe got the nod as the match of the year in the league. Canziora, his second year with the club, out of Germany. Talking with some of my friends in North Carolina before the match, they said Marcel may not be a natural left winger. They just want to get him on the field. They feel he's in their best 11, and they're finding a way to get him into the lineup. Yeah,
I'll tell you, they've thrown a couple balls into space for him, and the pace he's playing with. Holy smokes, he's got some wheels. You probably know this because there's a number involved, and you know everything about numbers. I have not seen the video, but in reading some of the press on North Carolina, they had some kind of a finish in a match, and they put the video up on social media, and it's got like 6 million views. Have you seen it?
I have not seen the video, but I know of what you speak. Yeah, it's become rather popular.
I gotta check that out.
It's almost up there with dancing cat videos. It's close. Very close.
Yeah, different audiences though.
Not as often as you'd think, Brad. Von Williams pressured. Good job to boot that ball to midfield. So Starikoff, the early goal in the 7th minute, his 3rd of the season. The assist from McInerney, his 1st.
I'll tell you, that's a great look at what Becker does. He's hanging out in the back line. The ball goes out wide. He finds the gap. He finds the channel in between the lines and is able to get that ball up into the attack. That'll be a goal kick. Donovan Iwolo was the intended target of that one. He is from Cameroon. Iwolo has 2 goals on the season. This is his 21st match of the season. He has literally split his time as both a starter and coming off the bench for a long time. North Carolina head coach Colin Clark. They have 10 players that have played in at least 20 matches this year. You knock on wood for Colin and that staff, but they have been awfully healthy. They've, if not the same 11, they've largely had the same 18 every match they've played this year. And one of the luxuries they have, and you take a look at both of these teams are built for the long haul in the season. You know, again, you got a guy like Shipolani that you've got that's coming off the bench, who's we've seen as a starter for a number of years. Good flick by Spees, but Connor Tobin, he is 4th in club history in appearances for North Carolina FC. Races back to track that one down. And Harrington plays it back to him. Connor will keep it in play without much pressure from an Indy 11 player. And Harrington spent 11 years in Major League Soccer. He was the 3rd overall pick in the MLS draft in 2007. And to give you an idea as to how far back that was, he wasn't drafted by Sporting Kansas City. He was drafted by the Kansas City Wizards with the 3rd pick in 2007. Remember those uniforms, those rainbow powder blue uniforms, and Preki? Was Ramiz there too, I think, at some point?
And Venegas will have that ball carom off of him, and a first corner of this match is coming for North Carolina FC. This reminder, fans, you can catch Soccer Saturday every Saturday morning on 107.5 FM and 1070 The Fan. This time of year is a blend of Indy 11 and Premier League conversation. Be sure to tune in again this week. So Becker, he of the 10 assists, will take said corner. Steered out of the 18, but not out of danger just yet. Staying on side, not really able to settle. Good job by Starikoff, and now some breathing space earned by Venegas, who simply hits the reset button and sends that ball back to midfield.
Yeah, and that's a great decision. You take a look at how that ball's bouncing around. It was I think Harrington looked to hit a shot from about 30 yards out. It winds up at the feet of Fortune. It bounces around in there. Everybody's a little bit out of shape. Just get the ball out, regroup.
And that'll be a foul against Venegas. Guillen with the quick restart. Reference the fact that Harrington was the 3rd pick in the MLS draft. So was Kyle Becker 5 years ago by Toronto FC. He is a native of Canada. Fortune trying to settle this one. Mitchell got a shoulder to it. And Fawn Williams there to close down any opportunity with a North Carolina FC player lurking behind him. And their leading scorer is Daniel Rios, on loan from Chivas of Guadalajara. 12 goals this year. He is one behind a trio of players that lead the league in goals scored. Cameron Lancaster of Louisville City FC, Nico Brett of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and Thomas Enevoldsen of Orange County. But no other player has more than 4 goals this year for North Carolina FC, which is why we expect we'll see Rios at some point in the second half. Venegas got there, and then wow, pretty turn by Iwalo. But Fawn Williams there to close down the opportunity.
That's impressive. That's tough for a keeper, because you're looking at this and you're saying, he's not going to shoot. That's not a shooting angle right there.
Well, since the goal was scored by the Indy 11, the advantage has largely been in favor of North Carolina FC, as they somewhat carelessly turned the ball over at midfield. Onside was McInerney. Couldn't get a controlling touch. Tobin had kept him onside somewhat inadvertently.
That was a well-timed run, good serve.
And one of the things that you really like about this Indy 11 lineup is its versatility. Opportunity here. Good looking lead. Left foot. Save is made, not by Fawn Williams, but the diving effort by the Indy 11, Matt Watson, I believe, or is that Carlisle Mitchell? It's Mitchell. Regardless, it remains a 1-0 lead for the home team.
Just enough from Williams to slow that ball down and keep it on the field. But I'll tell you what, a great buildup by North Carolina. Becker slots the ball across. They're going to regret that. They had some good looks at that.
McInerney goes to the turf. The official says play on. McInerney trying to get that ball around Tambakis. Talk about the versatility of the Indy 11. They really have 3 forwards on the field with Starikoff, McInerney, and Spees, but Spees can slide back and play that midfield role. But to North Carolina's credit, they have not been dismayed by the early tally for the Indy 11. In the second time we've said this in as many minutes, a somewhat careless giveaway. Off the left foot, a beauty. And no need for goal line technology. And we've referenced the fact that the football lines are far more visible. Frankly,
that blue turf was not there, with the contrast to the white, what would be the back end of the end zone for the NFL here. Kind of made it a little easier to see that that ball did not cross the plane of the goal line and kept a 0 on the board for NCFC. So no need, nor frankly ability, to go to VAR in this match. This segment of the match is presented by the Room Place. Get it all at the Room Place.
They've had two very similar reads by Iose where they're looking for Miller out wide. He pops out, get his heels on the touchline, and Iose stepping in front of him. That next one, you got to be careful because they may be baiting him into stepping in front and looking to play Miller through.
Good look at Indy 11 head coach Martin Runnigan, formerly coached the Carolina Railhawks from 2009 through 2011. And coached the Vancouver Whitecaps in Major League Soccer, and then spent 3 years coaching in South Korea for stepping away for a year last year. Named the Indy 11 head coach in the abbreviated offseason this club had as they were unsure of what their league situation was going to be in 2018. North Carolina FC announced immediately at the conclusion of last year they were making the move to the USL. Indy 11 was not until January that was announced. And this one headed away from Owan Fawn-Williams. But again, for the last 15 minutes, North Carolina continues to have had the better of it. Ferreira made that play for the Indy 11.
It's one of the dangerous things about that early goal. Sometimes you take your foot off the gas and you know, you got 65 minutes here where you still have to navigate this and continue to play. And here's the second time in 8 minutes that Becker's had an opportunity to drive a ball into the box.
Knocked away by Venegas. And Harrington will settle. And this one, Fawn-Williams gave him much more of a scare than he anticipated. And the ball from 35 to 40 yards out. See the quick grab of the water bottle by Fawn-Williams. With the roof being closed this evening, it is comfortable in the low 70s in this building. Now an opportunity here for the Indy 11. Venegas providing some help on the wide side. 3 attackers to his left. The lead for Spees. Spees plays it back across. Ended up being knocked by a defender. Not on purpose. Right back to Tambakis in goal. Outstanding read by Watson, however. He got enough of the defender to draw the whistle. No card will be issued, but a foul is called. Let's take another look at the combination by Guerra and Spees. You see the birthday boy Phil DeSantos next to Martin Running and the rest of the Indy 11 coaching staff. They have had lots of time on the training pitch over the course of the last 4 weeks. That will not be the case for the next 3. Tonight is the start of a 7-match in 22-day streak for the Indy 11. 4 of those will be at home. They will be on the road on Saturday as they head to go play Ottawa Fury FC in Ottawa for the first time in 2 years. Those two played here on July the 4th, with an Indy 11 own goal being the only tally in that match that saw the Ottawa Fury earn 3 points, and really that has helped propel them back into the playoff race at this point. Indy 11 currently 8th in the Eastern Conference standings. North Carolina FC currently in 10th, and to be frank, 13 of the 16 teams in the Eastern Conference of the USL really still in the playoff chase.
You talk about the time that they've had in training, and you can see a little bit of the results of that. I mean, you look at Modern, you look at Starikov, you look at McInerney, all look like they've got an elevated pace tonight. I think the last time we saw them, they were coming off of 3 matches in 8 days on 2 separate occasions, and with the roof open in 100-degree heat, they just look dead.
Deflected off a North Carolina player. Throw in coming for the Indy 11. Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. The turf bounce favors North Carolina FC with the left foot. Whoa. And just sliding it by.
What a great strike. What a great strike.
And it's Canziora again. He has been a factor in this match. Has 2 goals this season. This is his 11th start of the season. And this is his second fantastic opportunity of the night. And Fawn Williams was a concerned spectator about the last 10-15 yards of that one.
And I'll tell you, the turf that got replaced was not in bad condition. But you look at this new turf, and there have been a couple balls that have been overhit. One for Indy 11, I think that McInerney was able to get to, and I think one here in the corner, I forget who, they were overhit. It looked like balls were going to go out, and it held up. And the same thing that happened on that ball right there. It just pops up.
Simply put, it's a new turf. It's thicker. There's more fibers in there at this point than one that has been used for a few years as the one previously had been. So it's not surprising. And these guys are learning as they go. They both had a chance to work out here on the turf yesterday. But the ball's going to check up a little bit more, to use the golf analogy, than it did on the old turf. This facility celebrating its 10th birthday this month. Became the home of the Indianapolis Colts in 2008, the home of Super Bowl 46 in early 2012, and as of March 31st became the home of the Indy 11. Here's the blast, and not on frame. Fans, you can show your Indy 11 pride and get your exclusive Indiana Members Credit Union Indy 11 debit card at any Indiana Members Credit Union branch or online at imcu.com today. Nico Mattern under pressure. His pass directed for Benegas was an errant one. Canziora didn't like his option, so Guillen. That ball a bit too strong, and again, these players from North Carolina FC, obviously you kind of have to adapt wherever you end up playing on the road, but for North Carolina, they play on as wide of a surface as anybody plays on in this league.
And sometimes when your brain's not locked in on the change in the size of the field, that ball that was just struck there, that one might be in play and carry.
North Carolina played on a bit of a smaller surface last week when they played at Tampa Bay down at Al Lang Stadium and won 2-0. That same facility was not kind to the Indy 11 some 3 weeks earlier. The side of a 3-1 loss.
Oh my goodness.
Iose weaving his way through traffic. McInerney had it knocked away. Good pressure by Venegas. Now Spees gives it a go. Oh. And Spees finds the back of the net. For the second time in as many home matches, Ben Spees collects a home goal. And seemingly out of nowhere over the last 20 minutes, the Indy 11 pick up a second strike in the opening 30 minutes of the match.
What a ball. What a hit. Two great pieces of individual skill in that. Iose dancing his way through traffic. And then this ball, what's it from, 25?
It is a continued game of one-upsmanship from the Indy 11 this season to see who can have the more impressive goals from distance. Again with the football markings, that's about 28 yards out that Spees hits that one, giving Sooney Sada a run for his money. And a 2-goal advantage for the Indy 11. Want to say a special hello to the first ever signee of the Indy 11. Christian Neekt is in the building this evening. He was the starting goalkeeper for the Indy 11's first ever franchise win, which came against the then Carolina Railhawks back in July of 2014.
every minute of every match in 2014?
Correct.
And 15?
Just 14. But that also included U.S. Open Cup matches as well for the Indy 11. That year they played 2 against the Dayton Dutch Lions and against the Columbus Crew. And Owen Fawn Williams is working on a similar number for the Indy 11. Only to play in 1 U.S. Open Cup match with the unfortunate loss to the team from Mississippi back in mid-May.
A lot of great moments during his time in net. I think the one that probably stands out the most.
Minnesota 2014.
No, there were some great moments.
And then so San Antonio 2014.
Well, San Antonio's involved. Billy Forbes.
Yeah.
There's a little couple good conversations that they had.
Friendly spirited conversations is the best way to put that. By the way, this portion of the match presented by Honda Manufacturers of Indiana, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11.
Be interesting now to see what kind of adjustments North Carolina makes. I mean, it's tough to chase a game when you're down a goal. It's really, you know, now philosophically, are you going to try and pull a point out of this? Are you still going to try and go for 3?
But from a tactic standpoint, they've been playing well for the last 20-25 minutes. They've had the better chances. Indy has literally converted on their 2 chances so far tonight. This doesn't feel like a 2-0 match. It just, because that's not the way that it's been played.
Right. And that goes to that conversation we were having earlier about possession. You take a look at North Carolina and knocking it around. You know, the lion's share of this first 34 minutes has been played in their attacking half. And you know, you blink a couple times. McInerney sends a great ball in. Starkov beats his defender to it. Ben Spies hits a missile from 28 yards out, and 2-0.
You saw the 2 head coaches a moment ago, and Mark Runny and Colin Clark. You are literally looking at the last 10 years of coaching for this North Carolina franchise right there. Colin is now in his 7th season as the man in charge of either the Railhawks or North Carolina FC.
I think, was it last year, something crossed 50 wins, so he's got to be putting himself up there in the all-time.
He is the all-time. He's the all-time leading coach in terms of victories in their franchise history. Some giveaways in the midfield have been an issue for North Carolina FC. Once they've had the ball kind of past midfield, they've been fantastic.
Now, if you're the 11, you kind of like how this is shaping up, and where you're dropping so many numbers behind the ball. You've got your back 4 that are pretty connected. You've got Modern and Guerra and Watson that are compressing things, and that's making Becker have to go all the way to the back line to pick the ball up.
Montern, perfect ball to McInerney. McInerney trying to find a shooting angle, closed down quickly by North Carolina FC. But that is about as far upfield as we have seen Nico Montern in the run of play this year.
That's a great run by Modern.
He's been a fantastic story, young man that really earned his way on a tryout and was kind of brought in to be more of kind of a training camp player more than anything else.
Awesome story.
After 3 days, hey kid, here's a contract, come play for us.
Awesome story. And then he thought about it. That's the crazy thing.
From Germany, spent last year playing at NAIA Indiana Wesleyan, and has been an invaluable piece of this Indy 11 season. The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter.
You know, you talk about that being the longest run that he's really, and that's up there. But the impressive thing is at the end of it, you know, when he's at his limit, he finds the right ball to McInerney.
He truly has been a holding midfielder for this team. This is a team that, if you've watched them at all this year, you can see, and you see it tonight, the backs have no problem going forward in Ioze and Venegas. And so that puts a little more responsibility on the midfielders to drop back defensively. Really, both Watson and Montern will do it, but more of that responsibility is on Matt Montern than it is Matt Watson. Watson applying pressure to Tambakis here. Another good read by Mattern. That has been a common phrase we have used this year. Spies helps apply the pressure after losing that ball. And quickly, North Carolina FC will get back to work, trying to at least claim back one of these goals before halftime. And Fawn Williams had a beat on that one, but Mitchell did not hear him. Long distance opportunity, and we're seeing maybe a few more of those shots from distance when they're really not needed. There's still so much time left in this match for North Carolina.
Yeah, I think some of it was the play prior to that, but then you take a look at the ball that I think Miller sent across maybe about 10 minutes ago that looked like it was going to be a cross, and kind of in Hawaiian was coming out to play the cross, and I don't know if it just had a little bit of a dip on it, but it almost caught him off-footed and actually almost scored from about 40 yards out. And since then, Becker has tried two from around 30, which is going to be frustrating for them if that's going to be their tactic, especially with as clever of a playmaker as he is.
This Sports the Match presented by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Take your business to the next level in a state that works. Well, the possession of this match may end up being very similar to what it was back in April. 70-30. Player down behind the play. We play on. And now, Austin Deleuze has the opportunity of kind of playing that ball to the side. And will now so we can check on the injured player. And I will admit to you, the North Carolina uniforms look nice. They're not the easiest numbers to spot in this building. Gold numbers on white jerseys. So if we're a little kind of slow in naming some of their players, that's why it's Marcel Canziora, who basically in trying to pressure Matt Watson stumbled, I think really fell almost on the boot of Watson as he was advancing the ball upfield.
I'm glad you admitted it, because I was struggling to see them as well.
If you want to get the ire of a broadcaster, wear a light colored number on a light uniform background. And it's the elbow there. It wasn't the boot. I thought it may have been as Watson was striding forward, but no, it was the elbow that inadvertently came around and got Canziora.
Yeah, looked like caught him right on the jaw, and that's a tough hit to take.
This Sports the Match presented by Turkish Airlines. Widen your world. And Watson formerly played for this franchise. Watson's played for a lot of franchises. This is his 14th year professional soccer, all spent in North America for the native of England. Same can be said for Colin Clark as an Englishman, and Colin has the unique distinction of having scored a goal in the World Cup, doing so for Northern Ireland back in 1986. And spent many years playing kind of in the old English First Division, the precursor to the Premier League. Portsmouth, Southampton, and QPR amongst his playing stops before getting into coaching. Ferreira and Mitchell applying bracket coverage. Throw in coming here for North Carolina FC. Headed down, but again, not on frame. And now Venegas a little slow to get up.
Critical 5 minutes here for both teams. You know, if the 11 can hold the 2-0 lead and go into the locker room, you got to navigate the next 45 minutes. And that'll be a lot easier with that lead. For North Carolina, if they're able to pull one back now, the momentum swings their way, and that next 45 is going to be chaotic.
Venegas will try to run this one off, knowing he's got the halftime break coming up momentarily, as he and Canziora got tangled up behind the play. And easy to diagnose what the problem was there. It inadvertently got stepped on by Canziora. Space opens up for Juan Guerra. Quickly gets it back from Starikov. I think he was trying to get that ball to Venegas and not Watson. Watson couldn't avoid it, but then well defended by Venegas. This is a North Carolina team, as we've talked about, have played a lot together this year. They haven't had to make many lineup changes. Only Rios being not in the starting 11 is really of note tonight, but there have been some communication issues in the midfield for North Carolina, somewhat surprisingly this evening.
Yeah, and across the back line too. There's been a couple between Harrington and Tobin where they've misplayed a ball across the back line to each other. 1-2 that I think was Harrington played a ball back to Tembakis, and it was a little bit soft. McInerney almost chased it down. So you don't know, is it the lines? Is that affecting him? Is it the travel? Who knows? But not the North Carolina that you typically expect to see.
And again, as you referenced earlier, Brad, they've been playing great soccer. They have not lost in their last 6 matches. 3 wins and 3 draws since early July. Final minutes plus stoppage time of the opening half is brought to us by your Central Indiana Honda Dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. And you would think with a couple of goals, we've got at least a couple of minutes of stoppage time coming up before halftime.
Yeah, that was a little bit of frustration. You look at Becker bent a great ball in behind the back line, and it was the one time that
Canziora?
Canziora.
You can call him Marcel. You can go on a first name basis if you'd like.
Becker bends that ball in behind the back line, and Marcel, it was the one time he did not make that run back post, and you could see the frustration in him as he looked at that ball just skirt out of bounds.
Goals by Spies and Starikov. Monturn elect not to play that, and Mitchell had little choice, and he'll get a card for that.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. A little bit too casual.
I think Mitchell was surprised, maybe like you and I were, that Monturn didn't play that straight away.
Yeah.
So the yellow goes the way of Carlisle Mitchell, native of Trinidad and Tobago. Carlisle playing in his 21st match of the season. He has missed just 1 match this year, has Carlisle. That is the most of the outfield players, if you will. And we've referenced that Fawn Williams has played in every match so far this year.
Yeah, and it was needed too, with Matt having a couple red cards, and then certainly with Ferreira going down, you needed somebody that could provide some stability to the center back role.
Becker and Guillen. It'll be Becker. Good looking bend on that one. And Becker has gotten one back for North Carolina FC. And just a momentary switch off by the Indy 11 has brought North Carolina right back in it.
Yeah, that's an impressive strike there. I mean, just enough room to get it over the wall and back down, and just a tiny little pocket on the inside of the post. But you know, an unnecessary restart to give, because it was just a little bit of casual play beforehand that put Mitchell in the position to, you know, look to draw that foul to stop the counter.
Becker has largely been in charge, and here's another giveaway here that Mitchell quickly pounces on. Becker's been in charge of setting up the goals this year with 10 in terms of assists. That is just his 3rd goal of the season, but it's exactly what North Carolina needed, as 3 minutes of stoppage time, maybe even a little bit more now with that goal are about to be played.
Look, I don't think there's a coach on the planet that would not want a goal in the first 5-10 minutes of a match.
McInerney plays it across. Now Watson, and he goes down just outside of the 18. Now a chance for the Indy 11 to try to boost that lead yet again.
But sometimes with those early matches, it just changes you psychologically.
I often say the 2-goal lead is the most dangerous lead in soccer.
Yeah.
Frankly, how this first half has been played, it has more of the feeling of a 1-goal game, not a 2-goal game. And again, just outside of the 18. The foul on number 18 for North Carolina FC. And the educated left foot of Ioze.
Tell you what, I mean, it's almost the same spot that Becker had with Becker on the right foot and Iose here on the left foot, it's almost the exact same opportunity that Indy has that North Carolina just had, and you got just as talented of a player on the ball.
And Iose again leads his team in assists. Don't be surprised if he calls his own number here. It's Iose trying to go upper right corner. There was a deflection that was taken. So corner kick coming for the Indy 11 here in the closing seconds of half number 1.
And you could see, you got Tambakis just watching how Becker was able to slip that ball in. So he shaded a little bit over, and certainly was a little bit different in that Kenziora did have to make that kind of contact where Mitchell might have been able to get away without it.
The punch by Tambakis. Spees will track it down. Again, you got to think not much time is left. In fact, there's the whistle. Just a reminder, fans, you can watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season. Stay up to date with news from across the USL, the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL Soccer. The Indy 11 have the lead, but North Carolina FC feels like they've got the momentum going into halftime.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I think we started talking about it with 5 minutes to go in the half, and it's unfortunate because the psychological difference going in 2-0 is so great, when it's now 2-1.
Starakov's third goal of the season. Spees his second for North Carolina FC. Becker gets his third. It all adds up to a 2-1 lead at halftime in favor of the Indy 11. Indy looking for their 10th victory of the season and 5th here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Stay tuned. Halftime show comes your way next as you're watching Indy 11 Soccer on MyIndy TV and ESPN+.
Getting cut from the state.
And back at Lucas Oil Stadium, halftime, the Indy 11 with a 2-1 lead over North Carolina FC. Time now for our halftime feature from the United Soccer League, and oftentimes we show you highlights from across the league. Tonight we focus on one player. His name is Greg Cochran from San Antonio FC.
Cochran tonight appearing in his 71st career match with San Antonio FC. He's been with the club all 3 seasons, most consistent there on the back end.
I felt like my whole life I've always had to prove people wrong. Getting cut from the state ODP team when you're 13 because you're too small, and then in your club team you sit on the bench until you're 16 or 17 years old because you're too small. Everything kept referring back to you're too small. There's no better feeling in the world of being able to look at someone that told you no and to be able to say, I told you so. You kind of see it all when you go through times of playing, getting cut, being someone on the field, playing all the time. It kind of gives you a good grasp of where different players are and what their mentality might be. It's definitely shaped who I am. I wouldn't change anything for my career or for how it's gone. Not only have I grown as a player, I think I've grown as a man in terms of being able to deal with anything that I really think that's thrown at me. I think there's a bunch of different ways that you can be a leader. I bring my lunch pail to work every single day, and I try to get better every day. And if I have that kind of mentality and other people see me pushing, regardless of what we're doing, that's the kind of leader I want to be. This is my third year here, and to be able to stay in one place and to really grow with it has been a tremendous honor, and it's something that I don't take for granted at all. Every time that I step on the field, I hope that I represent this club and this city. It's a privilege to play for such a passionate fan base. I'm Greg Cochran, defender for San Antonio FC.
Johnson! You've got to be kidding me! Oh, what a finish! For Alex Bruce! Dante the other way! Oh, what a goal! Near post! Oh, what a finish by Charlie Ward! And what a world-class goal that is from Didier Drogba! Great save for Stuttgart! Zipnia, diving stop! Must-see TV.
As you can see, San Antonio FC is the game of the week next Wednesday. The Indy 11 will be at home next Wednesday as well. Clearly, they're at home this Wednesday, playing tonight against North Carolina FC at a 2-1 lead at halftime. Greg Rakestraw, Brad Hunter with you. As always, thanks for joining us for Indy 11 Soccer here on My Indy TV and ESPN+. Overall, Brad, your thoughts about the opening 45?
It's been a great match. I mean, both teams have had opportunities. I still think there's a few more goals left on that field tonight.
I would agree with that. We showed you a feature of a player from a Western Conference team. I'll take you around now, some news and notes around the United Soccer League here at halftime of this one. From a scoring standpoint, how about North Carolina FC and their 2-0 victory at Tampa Bay? They scored the 1,000th goal of the season. We referenced earlier in the program a three-way tie in the Golden Boot race with Daniel Rios of North Carolina FC being one goal back of that trio of Nico Brett, Cameron Lancaster, and Thomas Enevoldsen. And we saw Emmanuel Ledesma playing for the New York Cosmos last year. He's got 10 goals and 10 assists this season with, frankly, 10 matches left to go.
Unbelievable player. I mean, he can set up, he can play make, and he is a lethal finisher.
And by the way, new franchises and new coaches have been announced this week in both New Mexico and Memphis earlier today. So while these teams are thinking about 2018, there's franchises getting ready for 2019 already.
That's so great. It speaks to the health of the game in the country, speaks to the health of the league.
And now a time for a look around the league scoreboard, and there are a handful of matches taking place tonight. 3 of them out west. There is one game taking place in the Eastern Conference, and the Ottawa Fury, again, much like the Indy 11, playing tonight before the two teams face off at TD Place in Ottawa on Saturday. Fury out to a 1-0 lead.
Don't fall asleep on Ottawa. They have been making a run for about the last 5 weeks right now.
Our halftime scoreboard presented by Crown Plaza, Indianapolis, downtown. Halftime show continues on from just next to the Crown Plaza downtown, better known as Lucas Oil Stadium. Indy 11 lead by a goal as you're watching USL Soccer. Network. Dream big, work hard, finish strong. Community Sports Medicine, official sports medicine provider of the Indy 11. And by Honda, proud to be the official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. By Turkish Airlines, widen your world. And by The Room Place, get it all at The Room Place. Back inside Lucas Oil Stadium. First time the Indy 11 have played here since July the 7th. The fans been rewarded with goals by both teams. 2-1 in favor of the Indy 11. Again, Greg Rakestraw, Brad Hodder with you on My Indy TV and ESPN Plus. If you're Martin Rennie, what's your message to your guys at halftime?
I think it's just a reminder to refocus. I think outside of that last 5 minutes, they were pretty disciplined. Last 5 minutes got a bit casual. It cost them.
So let's show you highlights. Plenty of goals to show you from half number 1 as well here inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. And the first chance of the game pounced on by the Indy 11.
This is a great setup. Good ball by Spees. Lays it into space where McInerney can pick his head up and actually evaluate what's going on in the box. Makes the decision for the early serve. Starikoff just outworks the defender.
For Eugene, it is his 3rd goal of the season. They have all come from July 11th on. Indy stake to a 1-goal advantage. Then again, a giveaway. And Ben Spees didn't need much room on that one, did he?
There wasn't much room on it.
We've seen a lot of shots from distance from North Carolina. Not as many from Indy. That's their one, and that one goes in.
Yeah, that was incredible. A great strike.
A foul on Carlisle Mitchell with a bit of a miscommunication, and Kyle Becker cashes in immediately.
What an incredible ball.
Just his 3rd goal of the season.
The only spot it could have gone to go in the back of the net, and he found it.
We say just his 3rd because he has 10 assists this year, which is tied for tops in the league. Now look at the numbers from half number 1. And the Indy 11 have led the entire way. Look at the difference in shots, 12-4 in favor of North Carolina.
Yeah, and that's one of those stats like possession, you know, favoring it. When you've got 3 to 4 shots that are coming from 40 yards out, you know, is it as dangerous as 12-4 ought to look?
Possession, we talked about how it was tilted 70-30 in favor of North Carolina FC when these two teams played back on April the 7th. That was a bit different with the possession, 55-45, still in favor of the visiting side.
Yeah, and part of it too, I think, was once you got that 2-goal lead, you sit back a little bit and you try and absorb it and just keep the game in front of you. And so some of that possession may have just been a result of that.
A lot of ground to cover for the Indy 11 over the course of the next 3 weeks as they will play each of the next 4 Wednesdays and the next 3 Saturdays as well. So the upcoming schedule for the Indy 11: Saturday matinee at Ottawa, back home for Toronto FC 2. They're in last place in the league, but they've won twice in their last 3 matches, their first 2 victories of the season. Then at Atlanta United 2, a very good Pittsburgh team comes in here. So if you look at that schedule, you go, hey, you're kind of playing some of the bottom teams in the league. Yes, but you're doing so in a very compacted amount of time.
Yeah, and the tough part with Toronto and Atlanta, those are teams that are, you know, MLS feeder clubs. So they're always trying out players. So it may not be the team you expect or the one that you're scouting.
Let's quickly catch up with the head coach of the Indy 11 and Martin Rennie for our Turkish Airlines halftime interview. Coach, you had to love that first half to the last couple of minutes. Overall, your thoughts on the first 45?
Yeah, I think it was a good half. As you say, the last couple of minutes we played a little bit into dangerous areas and we got caught for it. We just got to make sure we don't do that in the second half, but we will get more opportunities and we just need to make sure we take them, which we did well in the first half.
Anything from a tactics standpoint you expect to change in half number 2, Coach?
No, I think that the main thing for us is to improve on making sure that we don't give the ball away in bad areas. When we were in good shape, we never looked like losing anything, but the danger came on turnover, so we have to watch that.
Martin, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you after the match. Head coach of the Indy 11, Martin Rennie. Our halftime conversation presented by Turkish Airlines, the official international airline of Indy 11 soccer. Turkish Airlines, widen your world. It looks like no substitutions yet for either of these teams. Again, you're playing in absolutely pristine and perfect weather conditions in here. North Carolina did play in Tampa Bay on Saturday night. The Indy 11 haven't played in 10 days. Players available off the bench tonight for the Indy 11. Ben Lundgaard, if needed, in goal. And as I say, no substitutions. There's going to be one right now for North Carolina FC. Let's finish the thought. Ben Lundgaard, Brad Ring, Carl Ouimet, Seth Moses, Zach Steinberger, Suni Sada, and Elliot Collier. The players available as subs for the Indy 11, and Collier is one of the 2 players newly acquired on loan from the Chicago Fire. Not sure we would see him tonight. Young man that is from New Zealand and played his collegiate soccer at Loyola of Chicago. Speaking of collegiate soccer players, a guy that played in this town 11 months ago as a collegian has just entered the game for North Carolina FC. That is Marios Lomas. He is from the Netherlands. He played last year at Creighton, a Big East opponent of Butler, and he has entered this match replacing Stephen Miller. So a substitution at the 45-minute mark is made by Colin Clark. So underway here in half number 2. The goal scored by North Carolina FC at the end of the first half, the first in 135 minutes of action this year against the Indy 11. Becker didn't have the touch he was looking for. Trying the volley with the left foot. Mitchell. Dangerous spot. Ferreira gets in the way of the shot.
What a good recovery. He's sitting there on the 6 with a whole goal to shoot at.
McInerney able to stay on side, being in the defensive half of the field. Able to keep the ball in play, but not at his feet. As McInerney looks for a goal for a 3rd consecutive game. There you see Marios Lomas.
Lomas has already made an impact. I mean, first that header that he was able to just nick and get across the box created that last opportunity. And then his pace right now compared to how Miller was playing a little bit more out wide, Lomas is playing a little more central, and that pace has caused this corner kick as well.
Von Williams didn't exactly get it cleanly, got enough to it, and there was enough confusion to give him time to recover. Another errant shot. 13th of the night taken by North Carolina FC. By the way, Lomas on the season is 2nd on the team in goals with 4. And he has done so playing in 18 matches, but only 7 of them as a starter.
Think about that. Between Lomas and Rios, they have 16 goals on their bench at their disposal.
Starikoff couldn't settle that one. Good high line by the Indy 11. And Von Williams will get a goal kick out of it. You see Reiner Ferreira. Spent last year with the San Francisco Deltas, and that man, Kyle Becker, was his teammate. This North Carolina squad was a playoff team in that league a year ago. In fact, they played at the Deltas in the semifinals and were beaten. The New York Cosmos then beat Miami FC, and the Cosmos then went to San Francisco and fell to the Deltas. It was the first postseason appearance from North Carolina in some 5 years. Perfectly timed ball here. 2 defenders track back. Deleuze will play this ball out wide. Canziora trying to get around Venegas. Von Williams gets a paw to it to steer it outside of the 18, but the attack continues for North Carolina FC. Venegas with the read, couldn't get there. Able to keep that ball in play was North Carolina. Take a look at the handiwork of Owa and Von Williams. Felt pressure at that back post, even with a couple of defenders back. Now an opportunity. Speeds plays that ball across for Starikoff. Starikoff left foot directs it right back at Tambakis.
That's a good hit. That's a tough hit for him, especially since, you know, if that goes the other way and he's on the right side of the box, that's his dominant foot.
Frankly, it is not taking much time for either of these two teams to create a goal-scoring opportunity tonight. Ioze on the ball from Speeds. Starikoff is onside. Starikoff.
And you look at that combination of Ioze to Starikoff, and you know that those are 2 players because of their time with the Cosmos that know each other's pace. They know each other's run. Ioze just leaves it right in front of him and gives Starikoff a chance.
For Starikoff, this is just his 12th match of the season out of 22 for the Indy 11 because he missed a large chunk of time in April and May. He and Ferrer really kind of got hurt around the same time. He has made up for lost time over the last month. Two teams with double-digit undefeated streaks square off on Saturday night as Eastern Conference leader FC Cincinnati hosts the Charleston Battery at Nippert Stadium. You can catch all the action on ESPN Plus with kickoff at 7:30.
You know, I think everybody took a look at FC Cincinnati and thought, hey, out of the gate, this is a team that's built to be there in the end. I don't think anybody had that same thought about the Battery. I think they've kind of snuck up on people. I mean, they're a solid club, always been good, but wouldn't have expected them to be in that conversation for top of the table.
Fort Wayne native Mike Anhauser in his 13th year as the head coach in Charleston.
Unreal. And he played there too, right?
Correct.
So he's been there.
He's basically been there for 25 years, more or less.
That's ridiculous.
After playing for Jerry Yeagley at IU. Iose couldn't find Spees in the upper right-hand corner of the 18.
You look at that, 25 years in professional soccer is tough. 25 years with the same club. That's just about impossible.
Iwalo with Fortune to his left, plays it back post. Takes a dangerous deflection.
Hey, you look at the opportunities North Carolina's created, and the 11 have done well to navigate out of them, either with, you know, Fawn Williams getting a hand to the ball or a deflection, but none of the defensive efforts have been clean. It's always just a ball that bounces around and winds up outside the box. Got to tighten the screws a bit in that back.
The Sports the Match presented to you by Community Health Sports Medicine, keeping athletes at the top of their game. Visit ecommunity.com/sports. Dream big, work hard, and finish strong. It has been a somewhat nervy performance by the Indy 11, despite the fact they have led from the 7th minute on.
And those are the things that are going to kill you right there. Is, you know, you're weathering this storm from North Carolina. You finally get a ball, you're out a bit on a break, and you have a turnover that leads right to an opportunity.
On the volley was Lomas, his first really touch of the night. Outstanding service from Dre Fortune. Fortune, again, one of the younger players on this North Carolina squad. They do have a great youth development program with their club. They've got some younger players that have worked their way up to the first team. Right idea. Watson and Menegas couldn't time it out properly.
And I think that youth and club that's attached to these pro teams is so critical for the health of professional soccer here. Not only just to, you know, to build your own talent, but then to have your fan base and to have your fans more invested in it. That web just becomes bigger.
Fortune just turned 22 last month. Played in 19 games for North Carolina FC last year. Had 3 goals and 3 assists a season ago. Iwalo is onside. Ferreira gets a boot in the way. It'll be a throw in. Let's make sure Iose is okay before we advance on. And he has missed the last 3 games. In this case, he may have just turned an ankle on that play. And the 11 trainer Brian Gerlach is standing by if needed. Appears that Iose will try to soldier on as best he can with some pieces of the turf attached to him.
Yeah.
This is the 17th match of the season for Iose. He made his season debut against North Carolina FC back on April the 7th. Watson with that read.
Good read.
It's become patented from Matt. Space to operate here. Starikoff didn't exactly get a great pass back to Watson. And possession remains short-lived for the Indy 11. This portion of the match was presented by the Denny Companies, tearing down the past so you can build the future. Indy 11 trying to build on this 1-goal lead. It was 2 before Kyle Becker pulled one back just before stoppage time in the opening half. Indy 11 couldn't hang on to a 2-1 lead in their last match at Louisville. Ended up being a 2-2 draw. Both teams having penalties stopped in that match. I feel a little different about a road point, though, at the defending league champs.
Right.
You want to hold on to the full 3 here tonight, especially knowing just how busy you are going to be. This is going to be the last match in a while where, to some degree, the schedule works in your favor. As in North Carolina having played on Saturday, Indy having doing it training over the course of the last 10 days.
You look, there's a lot of teams that are in that same kind of situation, and North Carolina is one of them as well, with a lot of road games coming up. And so you look at the difference in a 2-0 lead and where we're at right now, 2-1. You've got Rios on the bench with 12 goals. If it's 2-0 late in this game, you may give him the full rest. Right now, this game is reachable for a point and possibly even for 3 points. That may be a guy that you bring in sooner rather than later.
Talking about a great step in terms of a guy stepping to a passing lane. That was a great step by Mitchell. Literally took one step that put Iwalo offside.
Good.
This segment of the match presented by the Room Place. Get it all at the Room Place. Indy 11 had to protect a 1-goal lead for over 75 minutes. With Juan Von Williams stopping a penalty in stoppage time to protect the 3 points against this club the last time. Stopped a penalty in the 5th minute against Louisville some 10 days ago. Those are his 2 penalty stops on the year. You get 2 in a year, you've actually done pretty well.
That's impressive.
Tim Backus has not had much traffic his way here in the opening minutes of the half. Now Fortune trying to slide it to Becker. Good read by Iose, and the veteran draws the foul against the young pro. And immediately sign of respect, an apology offered by Fortune. Guerra with Harrington. You can stay up to date with all of the best from social media around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening on the USL's social media channels. Haven't had a shot go off the post in tonight's match. We've had 3 that have found the back of the net. Another precise pass by North Carolina FC. This is DJ Taylor. First time we have called his name tonight. The right back stepping up into the attack for North Carolina. Watson able to take the ball away from the first North Carolina player, but couldn't get past the second. Trying to attack behind Iose. That has clearly been the game plan this half by North Carolina FC.
And you look at the effectiveness of Iwalo in this half, both bringing the ball down and looking to work in combination with other players, and the couple of times that he's gotten out wide and been able to drive the ball across the box.
Becker has been their corner taker tonight for North Carolina FC.
Good ball.
Von Williams didn't get to it cleanly. Just kind of hanging out there, and finally Von Williams will pounce on it. A couple of heart and throat moments for both the keeper, defenders, and Indy 11 fans before Fawn Williams finally pounces on it.
Hey, it's been like that for 15 minutes. These balls that are going in the box are not being handled cleanly, by anybody. Both teams are just bouncing around, and that's a dangerous place to have some erratic play.
The pitch has been tilted in favor of North Carolina FC in this half. Little question about that. Spies launching McInerney. He's got Starikoff to his right.
You need a moment like this, retain a little bit of possession, get into your attacking half.
Which is exactly the ball that McInerney plays back to Jose. Yes, it slows the attack, but it keeps you from defending for a moment or two. And we will see an Indy 11 substitution momentarily as Seth Moses will enter this match at the next stoppage in play. Nifty back heel by Watson. Venegas weaving his way through traffic. Plays it across back post. Not a great touch by Tambakis, but Spies was not in a position to immediately attack. Now Starikoff got to it, but this will be ruled as a goal kick, and a sub will be waved in. It'll be Seth Moses that will enter this match for the Indy 11, and Ben Spies will see his night come to an end. Well, Spies certainly did his part, getting his second goal of the season, his 6th in 2 years with the club. But Spies will exit, and the versatility of Seth Moses will be on display. And we have literally talked about he could play on all 3 lines for this club, and he'll be asked in this match. Nobody's thinking about defending right now. Both teams are going forward. So he'll play that wing spot, but be asked to go forward for Martin Rennie's team.
And he plays with such great pace too. When you start looking at kind of after that goal that North Carolina scored at the end of the first half, the way that psychologically you play, sometimes you're defending, you're just trying to navigate this game out. Sometimes you need just that shot in the arm to get you going again, and he's a high energy guy that can do that.
If you look at the stats, there wasn't anything that jumps out at you about Seth Moses this season. This is his 12th appearance of the season. Doesn't have a goal, doesn't have an assist, but you mentioned the word energy. He has brought that every time he has played for the Indy 11 this year.
And on both sides of the ball too. He works just as hard going back as he does getting forward.
Venegas sent that ball in. Looking to have a teammate latch onto it in a scoring position. Moses originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Pressure applied there, but Tambakis will get there first. But not exactly surprised that, less than a minute in, Moses has made a physical play that leads to an opportunity for the Indy 11. He was ruled to be offside.
And it's infectious when you got a guy out there who's pressing everything and chasing down loose balls and making contact on 50-50 balls. That spreads.
By the way, Rubiel Vasquez is our match referee tonight. Collision. Ball falls at the feet of a North Carolina player. And a corner kick coming. That is off the boots of Marios Lomis.
Well, he's been effective. He's created some stuff with his pace, and they're playing it into the pocket just in the center of the 2 center backs, and he's chasing it down.
Becker sends it in. Looking back post. Getting a good look, but not on target. And we have said that phrase a lot tonight for North Carolina. We'll take a look at the post-game stats in our Central Indiana Honda Dealers post-game show. But given the fact that not shots on target, but shots, 12 for North Carolina in the first half. I'm not sure I've ever seen a team have 20 in a match. They might have that by the end of the evening. This portion of the match presented by Honda Manufacturers of Indiana, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11.
Critical in these moments to get that ball into your attacking half, slow play down a little bit, possess it a little bit, not just because it gives you that little bit of a break from defending, but what it also does is it's going to move North Carolina 50-60 yards back.
McInerney earns that as a throw in for the Indy 11. McInerney playing a bit farther back than we're used to seeing him play. Versatility abundant on this Indy 11 roster. Able to keep that ball in play was North Carolina FC. Good settle by Starikoff. Better ball to Moses. Now with numbers going forward. 5 on the attack for the Indy 11. The lead for Venegas.
Step sooner. Step sooner. Push that ball out.
Seth played it to the one player who was offside for the Indy 11.
Kind of got caught in two minds of, hey, do I take this guy on for one more look and see if I can get a window or push it out? That little hesitation cost him. And a mental note, something to file away. This last ball played back to Fawn Williams. I think it was by Mitchell. As soon as that ball was played, North Carolina began shouting from their back line, and they stepped up to press it. So you want to be really cautious about playing that ball back right now. Make sure you got some pace on it. Put it off goal.
Speaking of pace, how about Moses tracking down that ball from Carlisle Mitchell? Draws 3 defenders, which opens up plenty of space for Nico Mattern. Possession certainly 9/10 of the law right now for the Indy 11. With a 2-1 lead. They have led from the 7th minute on. Good job by Ioze. Mattern, nifty move by Nico. And then left the ball behind him. And Nico might have ended up being a little worse for wear at the end of that play. Nico's been a workhorse for this team this year. This is his 18th match he's appeared in out of 22. This team has such depth. They've been able to not maybe really have to overwork any one player this year other than Owain Fawn Williams in terms of being out there absolutely every time. Taylor plays it in. Ferreira got to head to it first, and Jose sends that one towards the banners at the top of the stadium. McInerney really couldn't settle. Tobin was in his hip pocket. Now Austin Deleuze, his 7th year as part of this franchise.
I was going to say, I think I've heard you say his name
a lot.
It's been a ton over the years.
Of the 15 matches that the Indy 11 have played against North Carolina, I would bet you he's been in at least 13 of them over the last 5 years.
It's weird. It's weird also not seeing Albadawe out here because he was such a workhorse for them.
Well, what's amazing is that that creative role has really been taken over by Becker for this team. Of course, Nasby now playing with FC Cincinnati, one of their big offseason acquisitions. Guys like Emmanuel Ledesma, Nazmi Albadawe.
Wow.
The left-footed volley looking for the back post. Lomas couldn't get there in time.
What a great combination, though.
Fans, you can download the official Indy 11 app now to be the first to receive breaking team news and highlights available on the app stores for Apple and Android devices. You and I were talking about this earlier. I had the pleasure of being on the broadcast of the Butler-Creighton match up at the Butler campus last September that Marios Lomas was a part of, and Butler came from behind in that one. They were down 2-0 in the 78th minute and won in added time 3-2. Paul Snape's team at Butler advancing to the 2nd round of the NCAA tournament last year. Good flick by McInerney. It's Juan Guerra. Guerra sizing up his options. Leaves for Starikoff. Starikoff for Moses. McInerney gets back on side. Venegas sends it in. Does not get through. And now the counter opportunity is launched. Good read by Mitchell, just to slow the progress and get in the way. Mattern a bit strong for Moses, and he's ruled to be offside regardless.
Did you say you called that game?
I did.
Did you really?
I did.
That was a classic.
Well, the Big East is a fantastic soccer
is.
conference. Georgetown, more often than not, the top program in the league. Creighton, historically a fantastic program, dating back to their days in the Missouri Valley. And we've got a couple of players down currently, and one of them is Carlisle Mitchell for the Indy 11. And this has not been a team that's been overly deep at center back this season. However, you do have Carl Ouimet available as a sub tonight. Brad Russin not in the 18, but healthy, and Brad Ring can drop back there if need be. We have seen both Ring and Seth Moses have to play that role at times this season. And Brian Gerlach puts the hand up, says, don't make a move just yet. Think he's going to be okay. There is the all-time leader in franchise appearances for the Indy 11 and Brad Ring. Indy 11 train at Grand Park, and of course the team they share this stadium with has trained at Grand Park for the first time this season. And there have been a lot of Indy 11 players kind of checking out Colts practices on a regular basis, including Brad Ring. He was checking things out on Monday morning. The Colts will wrap up their first training camp at Grand Park this week. But they'll have practices with the Baltimore Ravens there each of the next 2 days.
You going to be out there for that?
I'll be there tomorrow. This portion of the match presented by Turkish Airlines. Widen your world. Of course, the Indy 11 can train on grass, on turf, or indoors at Grand Park. That is the absolute luxury of having that facility. And that'll be a foul against Ioze as Lomas goes to the turf. And as he has done all night, all set pieces, all corners, been the domain of Kyle Becker.
He's been laying that ball right into that no man's land in between the back line and Fawn Williams.
And Starikoff read that one coming. Before that ball was sent in, he literally grabbed the teammate here next to him and grabbed him by the jersey and pulled him to his right. And the two-man wall proved effective for the Indy 11. Guerra. Kind of waiting for a teammate to make a move with him and never did. He'll play a real estate ball, just dump that ball down the field. Allow his defenders to reset. So the score remains the same as it was at halftime. But again, the scoring chances have been better for North Carolina FC. Watson trying to change that right now. Good speed by Watson. Venegas with the rocket. Ball tapped. Could not be tapped in. An opportunity for a third goal that goes by the wayside. And we have not seen Venegas knock into one like that one all year.
What a hit. Kevin Venegas.
That one might qualify for the upcoming U.S. Nationals on Labor Day weekend at Lucas Oil Raceway. My goodness, what a ball. I think McInerney was stunned. That ball ended up back at his feet.
And tip of the hat to Watson. He was the one that chased that ball down in the corner and was able to work the ball into the middle to give Venegas that opportunity.
Tip of the hat as well goes to Alex Tambakis in goal for North Carolina, because he hasn't seen much action all half, and all of a sudden one's on him. Walito Fernandez will check in for North Carolina FC. And for Fernandez, this is just his 6th appearance of the season. They have all been as a reserve. And Jack McInerney will exit knowing he left a goal-scoring chance kind of go by. Suni Saad will replace him. And August is seemingly the birthday month for the Indy 11. Jack McInerney had his 26th birthday last Sunday. Phil DeSantos, assistant coach, had his 40th birthday this week. Suni turns 26 on Friday. Can he dial up a goal for his birthday? Not yet, but it is a deflection and a corner coming for the Indy 11.
You know, if you've watched Suni Saad play here, you kind of liked how that was developing in that about 25, 30-yard range, giving him just a window and a look. Because once he has a clear path, he strikes the ball with so much movement, it is difficult for a keeper.
Suni's been sitting on 4 goals for a while. Had 2 in 1 match against Nashville SC back on April the 14th. He has not scored since the month of May. Ioze sends it in. Headed away. Mattern elects to steer it back to Ioze. Iose with his right foot. Player goes down to the box. No whistle given either way. It was Ferreira, the player that ended up in that blue turf. Taylor ahead to it and sends it sideways for a throw in. Both teams now with one substitution remaining. And the big question is for North Carolina FC, do we see Daniel Rios, one of the leading scorers in the league tonight, or does he get a rare night off? It would be just the second match. If he does not play, it'd be the second match this year he has not played in for North Carolina FC. Last meeting of the season between these two longtime rivals. Eventually North Carolina FC trying to work through the traffic at midfield here. Ferreira will play this ball to safety off the side.
That's smart. Get your shape. A little bit stretched. You got Iose up too far at that turnover, so knock it out of bounds. Let everybody regroup.
For standing stats on the latest league news, be sure to visit uslsoccer.com. Minute number 76 here at Lucas Oil. Outstanding
Great
ball
ball
here, and Fawn Williams can't get to it. North Carolina has leveled this match at 2-2 in the 77th minute.
What a great ball.
Marios Lomas.
He's been a difference maker since he came in.
His 5th goal of the campaign. Took a bit of a turf bounce up and over Fawn Williams. Let's take a look. Outstanding ball here, and just got enough of a head to it.
Yeah. It was the clever little outside of the foot flick right there that catches everybody a little bit off guard. And then it's a tough ball as a keeper. You've got your defender kind of in the path of it, but you don't expect a head ball to be bouncing.
So from 2 goals down to tying this match at 2-2.
Oh, wow.
Now Starikov on the long distance pass.
That's what Iose brings you. I mean, he sees where the back line is, and then he can find it.
And has quieted this Indy 11 crowd. Again, for large portions of this match, North Carolina has had the better of the scoring opportunities. But the Indy 11 had led for the last 70 minutes. So then get it right back. Ferreira sends it in. Ball stayed in play. It will be another corner coming. North Carolina believe that ball had crossed the end line. Officials say no, it did not. Great job by Ferreira. Watson.
Whoa, great touch.
Watch the tightrope, slides it across the side. The punch by Tambakis. Throw in coming.
Look, Cal, Matty Watson on the outside is just destroying opportunities right in there. He's turning the back every time it's slotted. 2 great balls across.
There have been some late game heroics for the Indy 11 at home this season. Handball is called, I believe, against the Indy 11. There was a late penalty to give them a 1-0 victory against Louisville City FC back on May the 5th. What we thought was the game winner by Iose in the 93rd minute against the Charleston Battery. That was then equalized by Charleston in one of the best matches of the season in the USL. The 11 hoping for that fantastic finish here tonight. Again, a point is better than none. But the Indy 11 were certainly hoping for 3 tonight.
And you've got to like what you've seen in that matchup of Watson against Guillen on the outside right. And you're getting through and you're being effective with it. Continue to see if you can feed him.
Ferreira targeting Moses. Quick restart coming. North Carolina trying to extend their unbeaten streak to 7 consecutive matches. Three draws and 3 wins, but they have won 3 of their last 4, including their 3rd road victory of the season on Saturday in Tampa Bay. Moses thinks about the long distance strike. Looking for his first goal of the year. From an attacking standpoint, the most likely sub you'd think for the Indy 11 would be Zach Steinberger if they head that direction. Steinberger had the assist on the game winner in the Indy 11's last victory, which was back on July 26th in Bethlehem, but they've only played 1 time since then. Back-to-back scenarios where they had 10-day breaks between games. That will not happen again for the next 3 weeks. Venegas takes contact. That'll be a foul given. Fernandez with the infraction.
Well played by Venegas too. Fernandez pushes it to the side, and Venegas just steps in front of him and doesn't allow him a path to the ball.
Get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest edition of From the Pitch. That's on USLsoccer.com. I don't think you're in 1 point is good just yet for North Carolina. They're sensing the 2-goal comeback.
Well, with the road schedule that they've got in front of them, you know, if you can pull 3 points here, that would be huge. You just got the 3 in Tampa. It'd be a heck of a start to that road trip.
Looks like the 3rd substitution will be a new face for the Indy 11. Appears that Elliot Collier is going to get the nod. The sizable forward on loan from the Chicago Fire from New Zealand. Played his collegiate soccer in Chicago at Loyola of Chicago. Saad leaves it for Iose. Iose told to get up. I probably agree with that. They're going to draw contact. Couldn't draw the whistle. Mitchell. Good diagonal ball to Iose yet again. Iose looking for Starikov. Couldn't get ahead to it. Moses couldn't track it down either. Although good pressure to earn that ball immediately back for the Indy 11. Starikov right into the belly
a save
of Tambakis.
Yeah, it was at him, but he held it.
Almost the exact same play that netted Starikov the goal earlier in the match.
You got to love that. He throws every part of his body at a ball in the box just to make contact. Let me get it on frame.
Well, just to give a fresh set of legs for the Indy 11. Starikov will exit, and his Indy 11 debut for Elliot Collier. Collier did score a goal in limited minutes with the Chicago Fire earlier this year. And it is the first time in a while that we have talked about an in-season loan to the Indy 11. Collier and Diego Campos on loan from the Chicago Fire.
As a fan, you know, when you look at your club making moves in the midseason to improve and to strengthen its depth, you got to love that. You got to love the fact that, hey, we're in it. We're going to compete. We're not quitting.
And knowing you have this stretch of 7 matches in 22 days, this team from a health standpoint is in a pretty good position. But you need extra bodies.
Collier's got some wheels.
Well, he covers a lot of ground. He's a rather rangy young man. Native of New Zealand, 2nd year in a row that the Indy 11 now have had a player from New Zealand on their roster. Last year was Craig Henderson. He's also in a position where the Indy 11 are missing a player, as that ball did cross the end line, as Justin Braun has been out since that hamstring injury back on July the 7th. And from a build standpoint, the Indy 11 haven't had a forward like him since Ben Spencer was a part of this team back in the inaugural campaign of 2014.
He was something.
Ben was here at the age of 17 or 18.
Unreal.
After playing professionally in Norway the year before. Previous loans from the Chicago Fire have included pretty solid players for the Indy 11. Guys like Victor Pineda and Marco Franco. And the final sub of this game for North Carolina will be one of the best goal scorers in the league. It'll be the next stoppage in play, but Daniel Rios will enter. And again, we assume this was simply a kind of a limiting of the minutes for a guy that's put in a lot of miles this year. Rios with 12 goals this season. And he's going to replace Donovan Iwalo.
Iwalo had a great game. But look at this. You're bringing in 12 goals with fresh legs. 4 minutes plus some stoppage time, enough to make a difference.
And Rios on loan from Chivas of Guadalajara. Iose, good run. Collier. Nice slide through to Sudi Saad, but Saad couldn't get the boot to what he was looking for, but that's an impressive touch by the new member of the team.
Two guys that have played together, what, 4 days?
Maybe.
And he slides him through like that.
And there will be an opportunity for everybody on this roster over the next 3 weeks. Moses applying pressure. Opportunity here. Lomas slides it through. Ferreira will sweep it away, but a corner is given in the 88th minute. Final 5 minutes plus stoppage time of the second half is brought to you by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. Indy enters this match 2 points ahead of North Carolina FC. Indy right now sits on the 8th and final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference, with 12 matches to play after tonight. Becker sends it in, headed down, but not on frame. Ottawa had a 1-goal lead at halftime in their match tonight against Richmond. They are the team currently located in between Indy and North Carolina. The good news is for Indy, they have matches in hand on most of the teams that are in the playoff hunt. This is just their 22nd match of the season. They will play catch up with this busy schedule that we have talked a great deal about tonight. Lomas gives chase. Fawn Williams does a good job of realizing exactly where he is on the field. And will snag that ball before leaving the 18-yard box. Collier again for Saad. Saad swept away by Harrington and volleyed back into play by North Carolina FC. Moses with the back heel. Saad reads it perfectly. Clever. Over to Watson. Has Collier and Guerra. Plays it across. Does not get through. It will be a corner. It does go on the proper side of the corner flag if you're an Indy 11 fan.
Yeah, and there's something so valuable up in your head at this moment on what these 3 points are worth. You're above the playoff line right now. North Carolina is just below. It's so valuable right now to finish this.
This is the preferred corner for Iose. When he has set up scoring opportunities from the corner flag, it has typically been from this side of the field.
How about Collier? Look at the size of Collier. How about finding him on the backside?
One more target. In his general area, Mitchell tries to settle. Moses, one's on his right foot, deflected. Guerra, it finds the back of the net. The Indy 11 in the 90th minute. What It's his first Indy 11 goal. Wow. We've mentioned birthdays throughout the course of this month. Juan added to his family with a new addition last week. That's a way to celebrate right there.
No kidding. No kidding.
Well, we have talked about it going both directions throughout the course of this match. There have been opportunities hanging off the vine for both teams because balls could not get cleared out of the 18 or the 6. And the ball perfectly finds its way to Guerra. An injured player on the field kept him onside. And Guerra calmly slots it through to put the Indy 11 back in front.
Great composure. Tembakis is coming out on him, cutting the angle, just tucks it underneath him.
3 minutes of stoppage time is what we were told. You would think with that late goal scored. Now 4. So there will be some added time. And again, we have seen the Indy 11 give up a lead in a similar scenario at home earlier this year to the Charleston Battery. That easily could be a 2 or 3 point swing at the bottom of the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference standings. And Suni Saad knocks that ball away from DJ Taylor. Neither of these teams have backed off at any moment in this game. Both teams have been playing for 3 the entire night. On the volley. That was fortunate. And Fawn Williams will go to ground. And I believe that Carlisle Mitchell will go to ground as well. I think he's just saying it's a cramp, I believe. But both players will require a bit of medical assistance, which means that we'll go well past 4 minutes of stoppage time, as more time will be added here. There's always something when these two teams get together, is it not?
It's always something, and it's always something's always on the line with it, whether it's the first win or a playoff opportunity, or here staying above that playoff line, keeping that position.
So to give the history lesson, first match in the 11 franchise history, April 12, 2014, against what is now North Carolina FC. First win in franchise history, July 2014, against what is now North Carolina FC. To win the spring season, the old spring and fall season format, the NASL, June 11th, 2016, a 4-1 victory when you had to score 4 and win by 3 against what is now North Carolina FC. Last year's first win of the season for the Indy 11 came against North Carolina FC. Good things have tended to happen from the Indy perspective when these teams have gotten together.
What is just so incredible. I'm the only one that was able to witness this. But what is so incredible is you rattled off those dates, the scores, the moments with no notes.
As you tell people, as you heard me say, just say it convincingly, people will believe you. Juan Fawn Williams back to health and back to restart this. Again, you would assume at least now 5 minutes, as about 1.5 minutes was taken up right there, tending to both Fawn Williams as well as Carlisle Mitchell. And Owen spending time to figure out how to paint the picture here. And now sends it back into play. And it was straight out of bounds. And Charleston scored in the 94th minute here on May 30th to take away a late 2 points from the Indy 11. Those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. Good pressure applied by the fresh legs of Collier. As North Carolina FC plays a game of keep away. So we are now to the allotted stoppage time, feeling like there's at least 60 seconds more in it. And some fresh legs up front for North Carolina FC. Deleuze. Ioze steers it away from a North Carolina player. And Suni Saad will rifle it back to midfield. Tobin there settles it quickly. A flick onto it by Venegas. It will be a throw in for North Carolina. Moses couldn't get there in time, but at least slows the attack Becker looking for his 11th assist of the season. Won't get it there. Von Williams races out, but couldn't get there in time. So Venegas will simply sky it to earn a few more seconds off of that clock.
It was worth the effort. If Von Williams could have got that, that would have killed another 10 to 15 seconds. And then he drives the ball upfield. Could be the match.
No glance at the wristwatch for our referee just yet. Opportunity here. Ball sent in. Venegas is there. We play on. 96th minute. Collier just wants to kill a little time here for the young pro. Von Williams will watch Ferreira shepherd this ball.
Great decision.
Across the end line, and that should just about do it. You respect the effort of North Carolina FC tonight. Coming back from 2 goals down. And again, they had the more plentiful scoring chances. The Indy 11 took advantage of literally every opportunity they had this evening, maybe without 1 or 2.
Great match, a fun one to watch.
But Starikoff, Spies, and Guerra all find the back of the net. Not done yet. Minute number 97. It is a school night, by the way, here in Indianapolis. Plenty of players to choose from in terms of conversation for the Central Indiana Honda Dealers post-game show. Collier again. Well done. He has been impressive in his Indy 11
what
debut.
A turn.
Goal kick coming. We're getting into some rarefied air here. About to hit the 98th minute of this match. Time has apparently stopped on our referee's watch at this point. Ferreira, 1 touch, 2 touch. Bicycle can't be dialed up.
Well defended.
Sunny Saad combines with Juan Guerra on the effort. The settle by Becker. Moses got a boot to it. Looking for the back post.
Whoa.
And finally, this one has come to an end.
Great win.
The stoppage time was 4 minutes times 2. But the result was what the Indy 11 were looking for. They led for 70 minutes. They lead for the last 7 minutes as well. Yet another victory against their rivals from North Carolina. Goals from Starikoff, Spies, and Guerra helped deliver the 3 points on the first leg of this maniacal 7-match in 22-day stretch. Indy 11, wouldn't say had to get 3, but it was close, and they got them tonight.
And it was great. And what it does mentally, too, not only do you have this tough stretch of matches coming up, but to have the 2-goal lead, to lose the 2-goal lead, and still come out with the 3 points, that's a big galvanizing win.
Goals in tonight's match. Lomas his 5th for North Carolina FC. Becker his 3rd for the visitors as well. For the Indy 11, 3rd goal of the season for Eugene Starikoff. 2nd for Ben Spies, and 1st of the year for Juan Guerra. 10th win of the season for the Indy 11. And now a 5-point gap between these two teams in the fight for some of the final playoff spots in the USL's Eastern Conference. These two teams lived up to the status of their rivalry. Exciting things happen, and this time for the home team. Indy 11-3, North Carolina FC 2. Lots of happy faces inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. Fans certainly got their money's worth in this one. It all added up to a 3-2 victory for the Indy 11 over North Carolina FC. 5 goals, and the last one coming from Juan Guerra before 8 nervous minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah, that was a big win. It was a big win because of what happens now in the schedule, but a big win psychologically, big win in that locker room.
And now you've got to play in less than 72 hours, and you've got to travel to Ottawa, which again furthers the importance of getting 3 points at home tonight.
Everyone you can put in the bank, especially at this point in the season, is critical.
Kevin Venegas autographing a jersey for a fan. Let's show you the numbers from tonight's matchup. We called it 20 shots for North Carolina FC, 15 for the Indy 11. Again, that levels out in terms of shots on target and corners as well. The thing that was, again, the biggest tilt in this match was North Carolina FC at 57% of possession. Frankly, it felt like more.
Yeah, and they were so dangerous, too. I mean, you know, finding Becker off that back line and him playmaking through the middle of the field and dropping the ball in the corners. There were so many chances early in the second half where that ball was just bouncing around in the 6 and they couldn't find the other end of it.
We've called some 3-2 matches, some 3-3 matches. I'm not sure we've ever had a match with 35 shots in one match the way that we saw it tonight. Time now for the Central Indiana Honda Dealers postgame show. As that comes your way in a matter of moments, we'll talk with head coach Martin Rennie and a pair of the goal scorers for the Indy 11 this evening. But as for our game broadcast, that'll do it for this Wednesday night at Lucas Oil Stadium. The home team gets the full 3 this evening as the Indy 11 down North Carolina FC by a score of 3-2. For Brad Hodder, this is Greg Regstraw. As always, we thank you for watching Indy 11 Soccer on both My Indy TV and ESPN+. Back on the Central Indiana Honda Dealers post-game show, and a happy win for the home team. The Indy 11 beat North Carolina FC by a score of 3-2. Let's get right to it. Head coach Martin Rennie on the headsets already. Coach, you added some late game drama to that one, the way it played out, but you got the 3 points. Congratulations on a pretty impressive win.
No, thank you. It was an exciting game, maybe more exciting than we would have liked it to be when we went 2-0 up. I felt that we made a few mistakes in that area where we gave some balls away just before half-time. That was disappointing, and we didn't quite get to grips with it early in the second half. But I thought midway through the half, we really got on top, and I thought that we deserved the win, and I'm very glad that we got it.
You've seen 3-2 games. We played 2-2, 3-3 games this year. There were 35 shots in tonight's game. Did you have the feeling it was going to be that type of game coming in?
Not necessarily. NCFC are a very good possession team. They do well on the ball, and they do create chances, but they're not always as forward and dynamic as maybe they were tonight. So yeah, there was more chances in the game than I expected, but thankfully we got the 3 in the back of the net. Really, we could have had more. Probably they would think they could as well. So it was a great win for us, and it puts us on a good little run with 2 wins and a tie in the last 3, having come from a difficult spell, as you know, of lots of games on the road. But I think it was exciting for our fans tonight, and I think it was important for them to see our players going right till the end in a difficult game and coming out with the win.
You talk about the difficult spell because of the travel and the time you guys have spent away from Indy, and that puts you on a different rhythm. Certainly now, with the schedule the way it is right now, you've got a different rhythm that's coming up. How do you prepare the guys for that many games, the road, everything that's been so different in what you faced over the last 39 days?
Well, I think we need everybody, and we need to be able to put guys into the team, and we need the quality and the intensity to stay at the high level, whoever's playing, and so we need to be able to do that, and I feel like we're a team that can do that. When we had a lot of games before, we actually had 8 players injured, but now when we've got a lot of games, we actually have most of our squad available to us, so that gives us a little advantage that we didn't have before. And, you know, winning gives confidence, and it can help build momentum, so we want to do all we can to gain that.
You look at you and Matt Watson both have a connection to North Carolina. Can you talk a little bit about his play late in the match and how he was turning the corner on Guillen and able to slot balls across the middle?
Yeah, he just doesn't stop. You know, he's up and back, he's creating chances, he's defending, he's getting out to the right side to give double cover on the fullback. You know, he's just a fantastic player. Genuinely, when I signed him this season, I hadn't seen him play for a little bit apart from on video, and I wondered, is he still going to be the same guy? Is he still going to be as energetic? And, you know, honestly, he's blown my mind in just the fact that he's probably even more so. With the experience he has now as well, he's able to decide when to go and when to stay, and he's a really, really key player for us, and you know, it makes a big difference when he's out there.
Martin, thanks for the time. Congratulations, and safe travels to Ottawa coming up this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Head coach Martin Rennie of the Indy 11. Again, we got a lot of goal scorers to choose from. The first one that will join us in a matter of moments will be Eugene Starikoff, and obviously it was he on the pass from Jack McInerney that got things off on the right foot for the Indy 11, a goal in the 7th minute tonight.
Yeah, such a tough guy to defend because he not only has a touch and finesse game, but he's a bull when he gets into the box. He'll fight for every loose ball. He'll fight to get a touch on it. He almost had a second one there.
So again, he is getting the headsets on in just a matter of moments. Look forward to talking to him. Again, his 3rd goal of the season, but his first in a home game for the Indy 11. And what was part of the cool part about tonight, yeah, you've got guys that are experienced pros that have scored a lot of goals, but it's not been necessarily the guys that have done most of the goal scoring this year for the Indy 11.
Yeah, and it's been a difficult season. He came in and he looked really good in the first couple matches, got injured, set him back a little bit. So while he's got 3 goals, you know, who knows how this season could have looked for him if he'd stayed healthy for the first couple months.
Eugene Starikoff is ready for us now. Eugene, thanks for the time and congratulations on the victory. Just your thoughts about the way this one unfolded tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. Well, kind of made it difficult for ourselves, I guess. 2 up at home, should definitely do a little better there. But in the end, the 3 points is most important. So we just forget about all of the hardships we had in this game, just focus on the positives and move forward. Next game is Saturday. So.
Obviously, the first of many positives was your goal just 7 minutes in. We're getting ready to show the replay of it now. Walk us through kind of how you saw it develop and how it finished for you.
Yeah, so we were playing 2 forwards in the first half. Just ball went out wide, and Martin's always told us, runners in the box, the ball is delivered, you're going to be there to finish. So it's exactly how it happened. Just get a touch on it, and it gets by the goalie. So.
Your game is such a power and speed and hard work and energy game. You know, having had that stint off due to the injury, are you 90 minutes fit yet? Can you maintain that pace for a full match?
Yeah, I think I'm 90 minutes fit. Today, for some reason, we're running a little bit too much, though we had to, I think. So in the end, a lot of the guys were kind of heavy legs. But I feel great. I'm happy I'm back with the team and just trying to do as much as I can to help us get in that top 4 and stay there.
Yeah, hey, I absolutely love the aggressive mindset in the box on chasing down the ball, beating the defender. Have you ever made a run behind the defender, or are you always beating him on the front side?
Yeah, I like to switch it up. I think that's understanding of the players as well, like combination play. We know when we can suck them in if I come underneath a few times and then slip one in behind. Ayo played a good ball in the second half. I could have got probably a better touch on it to see what I could do next, but that's how I think you just kind of play with the defenders, switch it up a little bit.
Final thing before we let you go, first game on the brand new turf. What'd you think about it?
Much better than it used to be, that's for sure. Can't complain. It's going to be our home turf for the rest of the season, so we just got to take every advantage we can and think that it's the best field for us. That's most important.
All right, you got a match in about 66 hours. Go get off those feet, relax, and enjoy. Congratulations on the victory.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Eugene Starikoff again, his third goal of the season. The man that scored the third goal of the game for the Indy 11 is Juan Guerra, and he is slated to join us next as we continue on in the Central Indiana Honda Dealers post-game show.
I'll go.
In the 11, 3-2 winners over North Carolina FC. Greg Rakestraw, Brad Hodder, but the man of the evening joins us now, Juan Guerra. In dramatic fashion, his first Indy 11 goal gives the Indy 11 the full 3 points this evening. It's been kind of a busy month for you, my friend, hasn't it?
How do you guys know everything, huh?
That's why, hey, we got scouts. We see people and places. Congratulations on the new addition to the family, and congratulations on the addition to the goal-scoring collection. Tell us about the game winner.
Thank you so much. First of all, it was a great team effort. I think when this team believes, when this team is brave to play, when we have a team that doesn't give up, and then we have all these people that's always backing us up. I think this team has no roof. So we need to keep going at it, keep trying to play, listening to what the coaching staff wants, and absolutely still be brave to try to play out of the back like we did in the first half when we had 2 goals up. So little by little, I think we keep getting better, and the important thing is to peak at the right time, and I think this team is going to peak at the right time this year.
You talk about not giving up, and here the 2-goal lead escapes you. When that second goal went in and it evened the game, what was the feeling? What was the mindset at that point?
Well, when you concede at home, it's never good, you know. So first goal didn't feel good. It came at the best moment for Carolina, and then the second goal was tough as well. I wanna when I go home tonight, I want to see the game again, and I want to see kind of like what happened through the play, because I think they had a lot of time in the ball like 3 times before the cross came in. So there's little things that we need to improve, but I'm pretty sure the coaching staff is going to go over film, and then they're going to let us know, and we have to work on that. But as you guys said, when we received the second goal, we didn't give up. We kept going forward, and we knew it was going to come. We knew we were going to get 1 or 2 chances, and we just had to put one in.
Now, looking at the game winner, there's a scramble in the box. There's a North Carolina player that's down behind you that keeps you onside. It's behind you. So did you see him? Did you know that you were in that position? And as Tambakis is coming to close things down, did you see the window?
Or no, I didn't see him. I just saw that Seth Moses, I think it was a rebound. It landed on his feet, and I took a few steps backwards to try to open up my body. So if he will give it to me, I'll hit it first time. And he just hit it to go, and the ball bounced it on my left. So I just put it to my right, and I hit it because I remember last game it was a similar play in Louisville, where I took the goalkeeper and landed on my left. So this time I made sure that my body was turned towards goal so I could finish quicker, and thank God it went in.
How much sleep you getting these days, buddy?
Oh my God. not a lot, but I'm very, very happy. I'm a blessed man, and we have a beautiful family, and I thank God for it.
All right, well, go find some sleep. I know you actually got a road trip coming up. That's a good thing. You're going to get a good night's sleep on Friday. Good luck on Saturday afternoon. I'm sure you and I will catch up for the radio show coming up in the next couple of days.
Brother. Thank you. Yeah, I told Martin I want a very quiet roommate for this away trip.
You got it. You're good to go.
Guys, have a good night.
Juan Garrett, again, his first Indy 11 goal coincides with the Indy 11 getting the full 3 points this evening. More post-game coverage comes your way next on My Indy TV. Okay, cool. Thank you. Brad Ring's kids are always the last one to leave the field, without doubt. It's not a school night yet for him yet. Give him a couple more years, and it will be. Greg Rakestraw, Brad Hunter with you for a final time. This was one of 2 Eastern Conference games that were played this evening in the USL. Let's show you the score in the other, because it does have an impact on the playoff race, just like this one does. This was teams 8 and 10 in the Eastern Conference playing each other, with Indy 11 getting a 3-2 victory. In the other game in the East, it was Ottawa Fury FC getting a 2-0 victory over the Richmond Kickers. So, again, 2 teams right next to each other in the playoff hunt will face off against each other on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, so important to get the 3 points tonight. Not only does that separate you with North Carolina from 5, give you a little bit of breathing room there, but with the way that Ottawa's playing and the win that they picked up tonight, and you playing them next, this was huge.
And again, this is an Indy 11 team that maybe had a bit of a score to settle against the Ottawa Fury. Ottawa didn't have much in the way of scoring opportunities when they played on July 4th, but an own goal is the only score of that night that gave Ottawa a 1-0 victory here back on July the 4th. So this was the first of a 7-match in 22-day schedule. On to match number 2, and again, it's not exactly a long flight, but you do have to go through customs. You are playing a bit of a matinee, so we've got even less recovery time. It will not be easy on Saturday, but you are playing a team in a similar boat as you.
Yeah, and everything is to play for in that match. I mean, those points are so valuable because you two are separated by the line for the playoffs.
That match takes place on Saturday afternoon at 2. We are back here again next Wednesday at 7 o'clock when the Indy 11 play host to Toronto FC 2. Again, we're with you for now each of the next 3 Wednesday nights. We hope that next Wednesday is as fun as this one. Juan Guerra decides it in the 90th minute as the Indy 11 go home winners 3-2 over North Carolina FC. Good night, and thanks for watching Indy 11 Soccer. Thank you, boys.